Hi, sixth grade. We are going to be moving forward with 1 point perspective. Last week, we put a horizon line across our page. We put a dot in the middle to be our vanishing point. And then we drew some boxes, right? We connected all of those boxes with diagonal lines to our vanishing point in the middle. You also experimented with your initials, hopefully. So there were some of you had some very complicated letters to do if you had ones with lots of curves. Today we're going to draw something else with 1 point perspective. We're going to make more of a whole picture than just doing some learning. I have two pieces of paper here, and you are going to choose. Last time on your assignment, I said that if you had a round piece of cardboard, like from a pizza, that would be a really cool thing to do this project on. So so I have a round piece of paper to represent that. I do have a cardboard pizza round, but it is way too big for my desk. So I cut out a piece of round paper, and I'll show you how to do it that way. And then I also have a regular 8.5 by 11 white sheet of paper, rectangle. Either way, it'll work. Just for a little sneak peek, this is what we are making. This is 1 point perspective, but it is kind of an extreme 1 point perspective. Normally, we have a horizon line. We see both the land and the sky, and there's things that are all zooming back in space to go meet at the vanishing point. This one kind of gets rid of the horizon line. We can't see the ground in this picture. We're standing on the ground. This picture is us looking straight up into the sky. All we see are these skyscrapers or these tall buildings from our head up, and then we see them at this sort of extreme zooming away from us angle, and then we see the sky beyond it. We are not going to be able to finish this today, but what we are going to attempt to do is set up our paper so that we're ready to make our city buildings. And then we are going to be drawing in the big rectangles and boxes and cubes all the way around so that we have buildings going every direction. So your picture could go this way, or this way, that way, or this way still. And it'll look convincing. It'll look like you are looking up no matter what direction it goes in. Okay? All right, here we go. If you are one of my friends that is starting with the rectangle sheet of paper, for you, all you need to do is choose a spot near the middle of your paper and make your dot. That's our vanishing point. That is all you need to set up your page if you're using the rectangle. If you are doing this circle is a little bit more complicated because we're going to be referencing the sides of the square paper to make sure that things are vertical and horizontal. So for us, we need to make a vertical line and a horizontal line that crisscross this page. The nice thing about it is that once we do that, where they do crisscross will be our vanishing point. So we are also finding the vanishing point at the same time. So with my ruler, and I'm really jealous if you are one of those lovely people who has a 12-inch ruler right now, I am going to do my best to draw vertical and horizontal lines across my circle. Okay, this is my vanishing point. Small difference, but very important difference. I'm going to come back to the rectangle paper here. I'm going to just put in a building. One building, one straight, tall, rectangular building, like this one, or that one, or even that one. I'm not going to get fancy with it. I'm not going to decorate it. I'm not going to try and show two sides. It is just the front facing end of a building. Pretty easy. All I need to do is choose where the top of my building is. That's it. So I can use my little square from last week. You can use your ruler. You can use any old straight edge you would like. I'm going to use the square because it helps me envision it a little bit better. I'm not going to put the top of my building right next to the dot. That's not helpful. I'm also not going to put my building way down at the bottom. I'm going to come close, but not touch the dot, and draw a horizontal line. You want it to be as perfectly horizontal as you can get it. If you have a 12-inch ruler and you can match up the two ends of the ruler on the two sides of the paper so that you know that it is straight, that would be ideal. If you're using a straight edge that is the same size as your paper, that would be great too. For me, I just kind of have to eyeball it and make it as straight as I can. Okay. From here, we are going to draw the diagonal lines that go to the dot. On one end of, I'm going to take my pencil, I'm going to set it on one side of the top of this building and bump my ruler up against it to make kind of a diagonal, greater than, less than, type of guy. Without moving my pencil, holding my pencil right there, I'm going to pivot this ruler so that it goes and it touches the dot. This is going to be a really wide building. That's okay though. Once the ruler is in line with the dot, the end of the line, and the end of the paper, I'm going to hold that ruler super still and draw that diagonal line down all the way to the edge, but not connect it with the dot. If you do connect it with the dot, just erase it from there to there. You don't want to see that or need to see that. I'm going to make this roof a little bit shorter just so I don't have some room for some other buildings too. Okay, other side, right? Take my pencil, put it on the edge of the other opposite edge of the roof. Take my ruler, bump it up to the pencil, line it up with the dot and with the bottom of the page. Strike your line down. Building. Done. This is building number 1. I want to make a building like this, or similarly to like this, on each straight side of my page. Now, there are variations to this. I could, if I wanted to, put a smaller section on top of this one so that it is more of a stacked building, like this one. Like the Sears Tower is made from a bunch of boxes stacked. I could also choose to do this, where I put a secondary building in front of a building that's already there. This building with the funky columns and archways in it is in front of, it's shorter than this one with the big glass windows. Okay. Those are other options that you have, but a regular tall building, totally acceptable. So 4 of them. On this side, I'm going to make another, I'm going to overlap buildings. To overlap, I draw a new roof. Just like I did with there, right? Just made that rectangular line. And do the exact same thing. Line up my pencil with the end of the roof line. Make sure my ruler is touching the middle of my dot. Strike a line down. Does it look strange that this one goes at a weirder angle than that one? Uh-huh. But this is how it works. Doing the same thing over here. Slightly shorter. I tend to make my roof lines really wide. I've been doing this for a few years now, and every year I do the same thing. Okay, pencil on the end of the roof line, ruler up to the pencil. Make sure that ruler touches the dot, and then strike your line down to the bottom of the page. Now we have a building in front of another building. front building is not see-through. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this line. Buildings, skyscrapers, though genuinely covered in glass, are not see-through. Okay? Two buildings. Let's try another way. I'm going to take my paper, rotate it 90 degrees. This time, I'm going to draw a stacked building. So that means a box on the bottom and another box on top of it. For this, it's going to seem a little strange, but I like to start with the top of the top box. So not the base box and then put a second one on top of it. I want to start with the top box and then put a bigger box under it. So I'm going to come as close, line up the edge of that ruler, make sure it's straight. I'm going to come nice and close to that dot. And this time I'm going to make a pretty small line. From there, I'm going to do something very similar to what I had done before. Except I'm not going to go all the way down to the bottom. I'm only going to go down to about there. The reason I did the top box first is because I need the bottom box to be wider than the top box. And I don't know how wide this top box is going to be. So then it's a bit of a guessing game. I want them to look like two totally separate boxes and not two boxes that are the same size with just different patterns on them. Two separate boxes. So once I've drawn the top box, I'm going to go back to doing something horizontal. Line up that ruler with the edge, preferably both sides. And this time I'm going to draw a line that is wider than the bottom of the top box. And then I do the same thing. You just ignore that top box. And done. Now I have a big box on the bottom and a small box on the top. Some of you may be looking at this and being like, Mrs. Dominic, those clearly are pyramids. Well, yeah, they kind of look like that, don't they? But it's not, I promise you. They are buildings that are in perspective. 1 point perspective. They are zooming up far away from us. This top floor up here on this skyscraper is probably, I don't know, 80, 90 stories in the sky above our heads. So, of course, it's going to look very far away. And things that are far away from me are smaller. So, that's why it works. Okay, two more simple buildings. All right, here we are. 4 front-facing buildings. There is another option. You can make a building like this one or like this one that shows 2 sides. Okay, I can see the side of this building as well as the front of this building. It sticks out more, or it's further to the side of this front-facing vertical one. It's off center a little bit. To make these corner type buildings, we do them in the opposite order. Instead of drawing the roof line first, we are going to be drawing the diagonal, the corner of the building first. That line where those 2 sides meet for this is more important than drawing the roof line first. We need to know where this corner is in order to be able to put the roof on. Then we can worry about the other outside sides of the building. Let's see what I mean by that. I'm going to go to this big corner first because it's got the most space and I can show you how to fill it up. Don't worry, circle people. I have not forgotten about you. You are essentially doing the exact same thing we are, but in a circle. And I'm going to show you how to use that big plus line in the middle in just a second. To do a corner building, like I said, I'm going to draw the corner first. So for me, I like to just kind of make them going out to the side. From the dot, I'm going to draw a nice light line all the way to the edge of my paper this time. That is the corner where the two sides of the building meet. Once I have that, the key to making these buildings look right is to have the top be square. Now I cut this on my paper cutter. So this angle right here is 90 degrees. Perfect square corner. What I want to do with this corner is I'm going to line it up so that it makes that 90 degrees. If you don't have a square or a post-it note or something like that to be able to line up and trace, you do the same thing with the ruler. Take the short end of the ruler, line it up with the bottom of the paper, and make sure it stays straight. And then put that vertical line wherever you need it to be. That looks pretty good. Do the same thing going the other way. Make sure that you're lining it up with here, the very corner of your roof line on the page, and the edge of your ruler is lined up with the edge of your paper and perfectly straight on the other side. That's the hard part about this project, is keeping all of these lines straight. Getting your ruler, your pencil, yourself all coordinated. Okay, so there we go. It's kind of like putting an arrow on a diagonal line, right? Hey, look, right here at the dot. Anyway, now what we do is put on those outside sides. I could have very easily just drawn all the way down and stopped it there, and drawn all the way this way and stopped it here, and it would look like this building bumps into the other two. But if you've got a really huge empty corner, maybe your buildings weren't as wide as mine were, you're going to need to draw some more sides. And you do them the exact same way. These are the roof lines. So I've got the dot, the end of the roof. I need to make that diagonal line fit there. Now, from here, the diagonal line is going to bump into this building. See how it comes down from the corner of the roof and hits the top of this next one over? I don't want this wall to go through here because I would just have to erase it later. Remember, these buildings are not see-through. They're not big glass boxes. They may have glass on the outside, but there's not glass on the inside. So you go from the corner down and stop when it bumps into something. If it bumps into something. It may not. This one I don't think will. Okay, if I take my ruler, not quite sure where I lost you, and I do apologize, but on your project, before you turn it into me or before you finish for the day, you need to have 4 front-facing buildings. So 1, 2, 3, 4. If you can get a stacked one, like this one, and you can get an overlapped one, like this one, Mrs. Dominic would be absolutely thrilled. So 4 front-facing buildings where you have one roof and then draw the diagonal sides. You need to also include 3 corner-facing buildings. So that's where you draw the diagonal in the corner first, then draw the roof, then draw the diagonal outsides. I have 1, 2. Let me do one more really fast. And then I'm going to go help those circle people. Okay, once you have this square paper, folks, you are done for the day. Just hold on to this paper until next time. Do not take a picture of it and put it on Teams right now. Do not try to Sharpie it. Do not try to add detail to it. Do not try to do any of that stuff until you've gotten further direction. This is basically it. Throw your name on the back, put it in a safe spot in your house so nobody eats it, pours water on it, none of that stuff. Just set it to the side and you're done. If you do not need to hear about the circle, you can go ahead and turn this off, finish off your drawing, go do something else. You are done with art for the week. Circle people. Our project is really similar. The biggest difference is that you don't have square outsides to line up your ruler with. So you're going to have to use the inside to line up your ruler with. That's why we put the big plus on it. For example, the front facing boxes. I'm going to take my little ruler. I'm going to line it up with this line in the middle and then draw my horizontal line. There's my roof. Doesn't matter that there's a line going through it. We're going to erase these lines later. And then you do the same thing, right? Pencil on the dot. Line it up with the side of the roof, sorry. And then do the other side. Pencil on the dot. Line it up with the roof. Where is it? Here it is. Down. Literally the only difference in this project is that your outside paper is round. So you're going to make 4 buildings. In contrast, for the corner-facing boxes, it's almost exactly the same. Your corner-facing boxes will be in between your front-facing ones. You've got your 1, your 2, your 3, your 4, right? Your 3 corner-facing boxes are put in these empty areas where the buildings are not. So for me, I like to take my ruler, make that corner first, like I said before, draw it nice and light. And then again, you're going to line the short end of your ruler up vertically to draw the roof going one way. And then horizontally, you could even do it this way to draw your roof going the other way. Got the short end of the ruler going that way, long end of the ruler going this way, keeping it as straight as possible to make that arrow, right? This line is parallel with this guideline. This line of your roof is parallel with that guideline. They're never going to touch. They always are side by side and they're straight as can be. Dot in the middle, out to the side, dot to the end of the roof, out to the side, and you have a corner building. It's actually pretty easy. It is a lot of like, what am I looking at? Which way does it go? Is my ruler straight? There's a lot of second guessing. I'm making it look fairly easy because I have done a lot of these. And I have helped kids with a lot of these. But you can do this. However you choose to do it, it's great. I'm doing it both ways. I'm trying to show you how to do it with a square thing to trace. I'm trying to show you how to do it with a ruler, but they are essentially the same. All of these things that go up into the sky, you would then erase. I'm going to make my last one down over here fairly short. I'm going to line up my ruler with that guideline on the short end. Go this way. I'm going to line up my ruler with the guideline, because here's the corner of my roof. Line it up there, make sure it's straight. come down. Okay. Again, you are going to have 4 front-facing buildings and 3 corner buildings. Okay. That's it. This is all you need to do for next week. Sit right here. Put this circle in a safe spot. Okay. Hold on to it. It is not due until we work on it some more next week. Okay. Get just this far. Make sure you got 3 corners, 4 front facing. Call it a day. Are we going to be coloring it? Yes, hopefully. Are we going to be going over it with all these cool designs? Yes, hopefully. I need to show you how to do them so that they look convincing again. So, this is in our future. Make sure you gotten this far. Hopefully you stuck with me. I know you can do this. Good luck. If you have questions, you know where to contact me. See you next time. Bye.